Some secrets stay buried for a reason, but the one I discovered in my grandpa's basement didn't just change him, it rewrote our entire family's past. My name is Daniel, and for years I believed my grandpa, Richard, whom everyone called Grandpa Rich, was just an ordinary old man with a quiet life and an even quieter house. But I was wrong. Horribly wrong. Because inside the basement of his century-old home, there was a door no one in our family knew existed. And the night I found it, our family history shattered like thin glass. The night everything changed. It was raining hard, the kind of rain that sounds like fists pounding on the roof. I was staying with Grandpa for a few weeks because he hadn't been well. Around midnight, I heard him coughing downstairs. When I went to check on him, I found him standing at the basement door, his hand trembling on the knob. "Grandpa, you okay?" He didn't answer. He just whispered, "It's calling again." I swallowed. "Calling what is?" He slowly turned toward me, eyes tired but sharp. "The door." A chill ran down my spine. I had been in that basement a dozen times growing up, and trust me, there was no door in there except the main one. Before I could ask more, Grandpa suddenly collapsed. I rushed to him, lifted him up, and gently sat him on the couch. His breathing was shaky. But instead of asking for help, he grabbed my wrist tightly. "Daniel, promise me something." "What?" "If the whisper calls you too, don't go alone." Those were the last words he said before falling unconscious. The basement calls. After making sure he was resting, I made the mistake of doing exactly what he warned me not to. I opened the basement door. The air felt different, heavy, cold, like the darkness had weight. I walked carefully down the stairs. The bulbs flickered. Shadows stretched unnaturally long. Then I heard it. A faint, trembling whisper. "Help me." The voice wasn't loud. It wasn't scary. It was broken. Desperate. I followed the sound to the old brick wall on the left side. And that's when I saw it. Something I had never noticed. A faint outline of a rectangle, hidden under peeling wallpaper. A door. A sealed door. My heart hammered as I pressed my hand against it. Cold like ice. The whisper came again, clearer. "Please don't leave me here." My fingers shook as I peeled away the wallpaper, revealing an old wooden door with rusted hinges and a tiny keyhole. But there was no key. I stepped back, confused, until something clattered behind me. I turned. The tiny bronze key from Grandpa's necklace, the one he always wore, was lying on the floor. But I knew for a fact he had been wearing it an hour ago. My breath caught. Something wasn't right. Still, I picked it up and inserted it into the keyhole. It clicked open instantly, almost too easily. The secret room. The door creaked open slowly, releasing a cold breath of stale air. Inside was a small room lit by the faint glow of a dusty lamp. The walls were covered in photos. Hundreds of them. All of the same woman. A woman with bright eyes, dark hair, and a gentle smile. Under many photos was a single name. Eliza. I stepped further in, and the door slammed behind me. I jumped and tried to open it again. Locked. From the outside. That's when I heard it. A soft sobbing. I froze. Who's there?" No answer. Just quiet, suffocating crying. I followed the sound to an old rocking chair in the corner. And sitting on it was a box. Not a person. Not a figure. Just a box wrapped in a velvet cloth. The whisper came again. "Please let me out." I hesitated. Every cell in my body screamed at me to leave. But something stronger, curiosity, fear, destiny, pushed my hands forward. I lifted the cloth. Inside was a journal. Old. Leather-bound. Edges burned. I opened the first page. And everything inside me froze. The truth about Eliza. The journal belonged to Eliza Mayfield, the woman Grandpa had loved before he married my grandmother. Page after page told the same tragic story. Eliza was pregnant with Grandpa's child, but her family disapproved. Her father, violent, controlling, feared in the whole town. Locked her away to hide the pregnancy. That secret room, this room, was her prison. I felt sick. My knees weakened as I read her final entry, dated 1932. Richard, if you ever find this, please forgive me. They won't let me see you. They say our child is a shame. If our baby lives, tell them I loved them before I ever got to meet them. My blood turned to ice. Their baby. My grandpa's child. But grandpa never spoke of this. Never mentioned Eliza. Never mentioned any child before my father. Why? Because the next page had the answer. A death report. Eliza Mayfield died at 19. Cause unknown. Body never recovered. Never recovered. I looked around the tiny room. My stomach dropping. Where was her body? The whisper came again, heartbroken, fatting. They never let me go. I stepped backward, horrified. The final discovery. The journal slipped from my hands. As it hit the floor, a loose sheet fell out. A birth certificate. The baby was born. A girl. Her name, Margaret. Father, Richard Hayes, grandpa. Status, adopted secretly. New family, the Carsons. I felt my throat close. Margaret. I knew that name. It was my grandmother's real name. The woman grandpa married years later. The woman we thought he met as adults. But the truth was darker. He married his own daughter. Not knowing who she was. Not knowing she was Eliza's child. A forbidden love created by lies. A family built on a secret so terrible it buried itself for 90 years. The whisper, Eliza's voice, wasn't crying anymore. It was silent. Finally silent. Like she had been waiting for someone to find the truth. To free her story. So she could finally rest. The door behind me clicked open on its own. I walked out shaking, heart shattered. Aftermath. When I returned upstairs, Grandpa was awake. Sitting in his chair. Clutching his chest. Tears running down his face. You found it, didn't you? I nodded. He closed his eyes. I always knew the house kept her voice alive until someone was brave enough to listen. I sat beside him, overcome with emotion. Why didn't you tell anyone? His voice cracked. Because some sins don't belong to the children. He handed me the old bronze key. Keep it. And let the dead rest. Those were the last words he ever spoke. He passed away that night. Peacefully, almost relieved. As if Eliza had been waiting for him. The final moment. The next morning, I returned to the basement one last time. The secret door was gone. Not sealed. Not locked. Gone. Just old bricks. As if the house itself erased the past. I whispered softly. Rest now, Eliza. And for the first time, the basement felt warm. Alive. Free.